During Halo Reach's development, there was a level for a covert SEAL's boat attack. It was going to take place at night, and the goal with the mission was to sink a ship. The mission and the boat didn't make the final cut, but its removal allowed for New Alexandria to be fully developed and put into the game. I've already made a whole video going over watercraft in Halo, so if you're interested in that topic, go watch that. But the concept of this boat mission is what led to me making Desolate December. My goals for modding Halo were to just add all the crazy shit that I had ideas for and make it a reality. Dinosaurs, the Banished from Halo Wars 2, Halo Wars Marines. So when it came to the next level, I just wanted naval combat. As I felt it was an unexplored idea within Halo and had a ton of potential, and to learn from DigSite and Uttercut content that we were supposed to get a naval-focused level made me want to make it a reality since I knew it was a niche thing. So I looked at the concept of the Halo Reach boat mission and used it as a foundation for this modded mission. I started by concepting the basic layout of the map and looking into the boat mission's development notes, which mentioned it being about sinking a ship and being covert, so I thought stealth. Although it was based on the Reach mission, I wanted to make it into its own thing. By having the mod set at the start of the Human Covenant War, in the polar regions of Harvest, and featuring the Halo 1 inspired Covenant. The locations in the mod were simple icebergs that would be the starting area before the ship battle. Over time this grew into 2 icebergs in a holdout section to extend the mod length, as I realized just simply going to the ship would make this a very quick mod. The Covenant ship that you see is the Man of War, based on the Man of War jellyfish. As I thought most of the Covenant vehicle names are based on ghosts, I thought having a jellyfish name would work here since jellyfish are transparent creatures like ghosts are. The Man of War is a simply edited Halo 3 Phantom with Halo 1 Covenant interiors added into it. The idea is that it's a destroyer that can shoot intercontinental plasma missiles across a planet, and it's used to fight other naval ships while also deploying its own fighting force. So taking down a ship like this is crucial during a planetary invasion. It's just basic map geo, and it's not really anything too special, but I think it does the job well of being a ship to take down. To get to the ship, we needed a boat in the mod. In Halo 3, all we had was the classic Halo 3 boat hog, created by Thunder 4 Craft on Nexus Mods. That was a really good starting point for the boat tags I wanted to make. We already had a recreation of the cut boat from Reach on Sketchfab, so I used that and gave it some damage states to put into the game. I also added a troop hog cage because I thought it made the boat more appealing and Halo-like. The boat is called the Stingray, which we know because of its name appearing in Halo Reach's tags and DigSite members confirming it to be as such. It was supposed to be put into Halo Reach, and there are videos showing what it would have been like to drive it. The name fits perfectly for a Halo vehicle, falling in line with the UNSC's vehicles being named after animals. To go along with these new boats, we needed a Covenant boat. I looked towards the Cut Spectre, or the Shadow as it was once called, from Halo 1. The vehicle looked like a boat already, so I thought it would fit. The model is from a Google Drive full of Halo models. I changed its color to be blue so that it would fit the oceanic theme I was going for, and it was downsized to be around the same size as the Stingray. It got a plasma cannon on the back, and now the Covenant had their own watercraft, the Sprite. The name being taken from the first Halo mod that I made called Battle for New Mombasa, which had the first appearance of the Sprite, which was a modified Wraith. We didn't have the ability to import custom models back then, so this was the best I could get to having a Spectre in the mod. Now I should explain how did we get boats to work into Halo. Well, boats are just flying vehicles with no real flying capabilities, with a few settings adjusted in the vehicle tag so that they cannot fly up or down. They also can float on water infinitely with a damage effect that keeps the boat awake because objects sink over time in Halo unless they're interacted with. It is also possible to make boats be able to move on land, as seen with the Banished Eurypterid. It is something that I will retroactively change with the sprites, as I feel like they can also work on land as well. With the AI, they cannot actually use boats without AI points directing them where to go. But due to the way boats move, the AI usually has to do multiple runs to get to the point, which gives the illusion of them moving on their own without a set path. With all of this, we have naval combat working in Halo now. After all these years, we finally can have boat combat. Of course, there are a lot more things to add. Having more boats in variety would be great, and ironing out the flaws like not being able to swim if you fall into water would also be good to do. So far, the fix is just making it so the player can float in water. But eventually I hope to get proper swimming into Halo and underwater combat, but that's for the far future. But that's how the boats got developed, pretty much. Additionally, I also did make some variants for the Stingray as well, the Flame and the Rocket one. The Flame one appears in the Easter egg part of the map, which I will get into later. Now with the new Naval part added to the map, we should look into the Covenant AI you fight. Like I said, I wanted to have Halo 1 inspire Covenant for the mod. I was really upset with Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary and the Halo 2 Anniversary not respecting their game's art styles. I was upset that we never got an official remake of the original Halo 1 Covenant. I talked about it in the last video, but these Covenant had their own designs that just got erased from existence within Halo and forgotten about, which is a real shame. So I just wanted to have a mod where we could have these designs return in some form. Thankfully we have fans of Halo who remade the designs for the CE Covenant with modern graphics. The first one I found was Zang's. These designs worked for giving the Halo 1 look of the elites, so I worked on weight painting and porting them into the game, learning how to make the shaders resemble Halo 1 as best as I could. The higher ranked elites also have AI to jump at the player similar to how the Zealots did in Halo 1. To make them more of a threat to deal with instead of being a pushover that can barely reach you, like elites after Halo 1 were like. Thankfully, to add on to this, Jordan Spartane was working on his own remasters at the time for the Combat Evolved Covenant. He had these Halo 1 grunts. I also ported them into the game and tried to make them look as close to Combat Evolved as I could. I also gave these grunts two new variants, Blue Miners and Purple Majors. They would use Needlers exclusively because they were based on Halo Infinite also having a similar grunt ranking system. I just kinda liked having more colors to the grunts. The best part about these remastered units is that they also bring back the variant armors that were lost after Halo 2, so these guys get to return. For the Jackals, I used the Jackal Combi tags from Clan Torn, as at the time we didn't have faithful recreations of the Halo 1 Jackals available, and the Combi tags took elements from Halo 1 and put them onto the Jackals, which worked great as a substitute for the time. Also, having the Ranger Jackals from those tags fits really well with the Jackals that can go underwater and still breathe, which gave the Scuba Sprite squads featured in the holdout section some more variety. For the Hunters, I used the Hunter Combi tags also created by Clan Torn, as they had their Halo 1 inspired elements and we didn't have recreations of the Combat Evolved Hunters at the time. They are great because you can board them and they have many variants.
Get him! I'm getting on top of him! Get on top of him!
There are also some base Halo 3 elites as well, filling in the Elite Ultra role for Zang elites, as their armor fit that for what I was going for. Later on in the mod's development, Jordan Spartane ended up making his first version of the Halo 1 remastered elites, which fit so well into the mod and looked so close to Halo 1 while being higher quality. They were also much more accurate than Zang's, so they were added in alongside his elites, as I liked both remasters they did for the elites. The mod still uses the older shaders for the Jordan Spartane elites because they just look better for Desolate December. In a future update, I'll also be updating the elites in the mod to use their Halo 1 animations, as not only does it make them look much better as a hostile enemy and way more threatening, but it also makes the Slugmen way more unique by using the Halo 3 animations. Speaking of which, there are also Slugmen, which first appeared 2 mods later in Secluded Sunset. These were added in retroactively into the mod due to time constraints at the time. I didn't really get the chance to finish the Slugmen and their beam rifles at the time, to which I didn't even give them their beam rifles because I didn't want to ruin the encounter that people already enjoyed. So they kind of just are there for a small part of the mod, to really add to the Halo 1 part of the mod, as I feel like they should replace Jackal Snipers for the, Combat Evolved theming of the Covenant in the mod. I also added in some of the H2A elites. The H2A Ranger elites for the scuba teams. I also used the H2A Honor Guards to be in the interior of the ship. These were ported by Rhino mods. I do regret doing this in hindsight since I don't feel they fit in as well, and I'm not really a fan of what they did to their feet. And the mandibles of the H2A elites, I'm not a fan of those either. But one day I will get to giving them proper Halo 3 style remakes of the Honor Guards and Ranger elites that properly fit. But for now, they just kinda do their job as placeholders. Speaking of which, the Honor Guards have their Halo Wars Honor Guard Wraith, which was made by JS, and the tags for it were there, so I just thought it would fit with this encounter. Speaking of a Wraith, the mod also features the Combat Evolved Wraith from Halo Generational Combat, which Darksteel gave to me when I was trying to recreate the Combat Evolved Wraith using the Halo 3 Wraith to get some strange results. This Wraith was put into the hangar of the Man of War, which can be used by players. It even has damage states for its new turrets that I bothered creating because I didn't expect to be getting an actual port of the Combat Evolved Wraith. The Combat Evolved Wraith is actually its own design if you look at the concept art, and it has its very own unique cannon as well. 343 may want you to forget this design exists, but I don't. And the Wraith just looks beautiful in the nighttime snow of Desolate December. It's a bit buggy of a Wraith, but I still love it because it does its job perfectly. There's also an anti-air version of the Wraith, which was in Generational Combat. I added it in here for the fun of it, but it isn't really useful at being anti-air. Similar to the Slugman, the Kestrel was also added in retroactively, being a hidden vehicle that you can find in the cliffs. It was made by JS as well. It's just a fun thing that is just there for replay value and making the encounter easier if you really want it. There's also shadows that appear during the encounter. They don't really fit and just kind of pop out when it comes to how they come into the encounter, but nobody has noticed that yet, and I wasn't really, I just really wanted some troop transports on the ground because I was getting bored of using sprites and spirits to bring the troops in. And these shadows were created by Alex on Nexus mod, and you can even board them as well, kind of like you can with the Wraith, and just blow it up with grenades that way. They're kind of inconsistent in bringing in the troops, but I'm still happy to have them in the mod doing their thing. Helljumpers later brought in the shadows in a much better way though. There are also spirits and phantoms dropping off troops. As I thought to really have the Halo 1 feeling, it's to have the spirits just flying by, making their noises, going to the ship to refill, and just dropping down more troops. These spirits were made by Zig Zagoon on Nexus mods. The Phantom was added in as well to put down the new Wraith and to bring in the final squad at the holdout section. With this, I used Pepperman's Phantom tags as they have the back doors open and a better interior. You can also go into this Phantom and hijack it if you want. Elite Rangers come out of the back of it and Ghosts come out of the side, similar to how the Pelican have Mongooses come out the back of it. I thought that was a cool way to have them deployed. And there's also a Zealot inside that you have to fight should you choose to try and take down the Phantom through hijacking it. Speaking of the Zealot, he's using his own carbine, a Zealot carbine, which I added in because I wanted a gold carbine. It shoots 3 projectiles at once and it's just an overpowered carbine variant that I thought was cool. And that's the only reason it's in the mod. I just wanted a golden carbine. There are also some other variants in the mods. We have the Spec Ops DMR, which is just a kit bash of Weaver's Tactical DMR from Ultimate Firefight Sandtrap. Then there is also an MA5K Tactical, which is my kit bash of Alex commissioned MA5K. The DMR and MA5K both take the role of the Assault Rifle and Battle Rifle. I think it's best to have variety when you can make these weapons exist on different maps from each other. Just separate them, don't have them coexist, but have them on different maps. That way you can have the variety while also not, having it come at the cost of the redundancy, if that makes sense. There's also the Halo Reach shotgun, also from Ultimate Firefight Sandtrap, which can be found by the Snow Marines during the Easter egg, along with the Halo 1 Magnum from VKMT, which was added in an update with the Kestrel and Slugman, as I wanted to have a new weapon to play around with. Now that we've talked about most of the weapons, vehicles, and AI in the mod, I want to talk about the location itself. I was heavily inspired by 2 betrayals for the snowy theme of the map in Halo Wars 1. Having it snowing and having a beautiful feeling, the skybox and base I used to make the map is from Blackout, the Halo 3 map. The map gave a great base to work with and has a beautiful aurora in the sky. I added a sunrise to the map as well that works very well with the rest of the environment, adding sunset colors to the blue icy hues of the snow. The sunset actually comes from a real photo I took in the summer, and it was the most beautiful sunrise I had seen, so I'm glad to have it immortalized in this mod for everyone to enjoy. There's also the AA gun part, which The AA guns aren't assembled yet because at the time I didn't know how to make them actually assembled, so that's why that's a whole thing and it's just a holdout section instead of destroying AA guns. So that's the whole reason for that, because I just didn't know how to set the whole like AA gun scripts up at the time, and I couldn't figure it out, so I just went with having them just be disassembled and having a holdout section. So that's how that came to be. I think I accomplished my goal in having a Halo 1 inspired elements from the mod, since I got multiple comments from people being confused that it wasn't a Halo 1 mod and that the assets that I used from Jordan Spartane and Zang to the map itself made people think it was a Halo 1 mod. Those elements are just that accurate to Halo 1 that it just tricked people into thinking it was Combat Evolved, which I'm just really happy about. Of course, similar to H2A, Halo Wars 2, or Halo Infinite, my mod does use assets from all parts of Halo. It's not a full recreation of Combat Evolved, but it's not trying to be. It's just trying to have all the parts of Halo that I like, and putting it into a setting where it feels good together. Compared to my gripes with the remasters where their goal should have been to be recreating everything for that art style. Like I said in the last video, my problem isn't the inconsistent art style in itself, the problem is that it's being used to replace Halo 1 and Halo 2, and soon Halo 3 in the future. Speaking of this art style stuff, I would have liked to have Combat Evolved style Marines for the mod as well, but I just like the Halo Wars and Halo 3 Marines better for this mod, taking place on Harvest. These Halo Wars Marines first appeared in Paradise Panic. They were just kitbash using Valkyrie's Halo H2A Marines from Gary's mod, which is just the H2A Marines with their Metal Gear Solid balaclavas on them. Then I just added my own visor to them to be more like Halo Wars Marines. The Halo Wars Marines returned for this mod to have new snow camos, along with the Halo 3 pilot getting the snow camos. And they kind of function as boat drivers and heavy marines, as I didn't really have scuba armor, so the pilot armor works for that. I also added in the new Spec Ops variants for these Halo Wars Marines with full black armor and red visors filling Covert Ops theme, and the tactical MA5K and DMR. These Spec Ops Marines throw flame grenades and have way more health than normal Marines. The Marines in the mod will help the player in many encounters, and friendly Falcons, Stingrays, Hornets, and Pelicans. They were pretty much by your side throughout a lot of it, and add a lot to the battle happening. Originally I wanted this mod to be stealth focused, but it was just way more fun to set up these AI battles and partake in them. My favorite part of the mod is the final run where you link up with the rest of the Marines and go take down the Manivore, and assault it finally after all the build up. It's such a huge battle, but there's also a huge threat in this battle. The fire-breathing Megalodon. The planet Harvest had whales on it, and we can see this during the Halo Wars concept art, which had a lot of cut wildlife in its development, so why not have Megalodons to eat those whales? Similar to my last mod, I couldn't just skip out and not add chaotic prehistoric creatures. I really wanted a Megalodon in Halo, so I finally did it here. The original plan for the Megalodon was for it to be similar to the other level hazards of Halo 3, in the multiplayer to be precise. Ways to prevent the player from leaving the map naturally. However, I couldn't really figure out a way to script the Megalodon to chase the player, as their AI is very strange, shall we say. When working on this aquatic beast, I didn't know a lot about Halo modding, and I couldn't figure out how to make flying enemies, similar to boats. So I was thinking of making a flying enemy that was set to only move in the water to give the illusion of naval combat. However, at the time, I didn't know how to make custom flying AI work in Halo, or AI that could just attack vehicles properly, so how could I get a giant prehistoric shark to work? Well, I thought of a complex solution. Make the Megalodon ride an invisible boat with a script that makes it do a melee animation when it hits a point, which unfortunately does no damage, so what was I to do to make it fight the player? Well, I attached an invisible turret with an invisible grunt riding it, and originally it was just going to fire out an invisible flame projectile. But when I saw how fucking badass it was to have a Megalodon breathe fire, and the positive reception to people seeing it do such, I just kept it in. And of course, these Megalodons are invincible because they have no physics mesh or death animations, as they were never intended to be anything more than a stage hazard that would kill the player for leaving the map bounds. But they're just so fucking funny that I just had to keep, these quirks into it. It's just so fucking funny. I just had too much fun working on this thing. They also fight with not just a player, but the Covenant, giving a wildlife battle at the final part of the mod. So while they didn't function as I intended, I ended up creating the most badass creature in Halo history, and it served as inspiration for the Megalodon boss fight in Five Nights at Fredbear's Free. In the future, I would like to polish the AI water life and flesh it out properly so it's just not an aquatic animal sitting on an invisible vehicle half submerged out of water unrealistically. But for the time being, the Megalodon does its job and it does it well. Also, there's a laser Megalodon in the mod. A Megalodon with freaking laser beams.
What is this? Some abomination from the ancient text? Hey! Whoa!
If you want to see this whole Easter egg route and how to activate this laser beam Megalodon, I already made a whole video on it, and it gives access to the flame boat, a buffed flamethrower based on the one from my first Halo mod, and some extra stuff to replay the mod with. You can also fight and look at the laser beam Megalodon during the Easter egg, and I'm glad people like the idea of this Megalodon, and I hope to expand more of it for future mods. Now, after dealing with the Megalodon, the player gets to go inside the ship and fight a few encounters, with the honor guards, hunters, and jackal marksmen. Finally confronting the shipmaster inside of the ship and his honor guards, killing him and then planting the hacking device to destroy the ship. The hacking device is already set up, just press the button and it'll do its work, and overwork the ship's reactors, which should overload it and cause it to explode on itself. But you don't got much time to get out of there. Shit. 547. Covenant Spec Ops teams are trying to take the boat back. Start the hacking device now. I have an albatross waiting outside the boat for your exfil.
Warning, warning. Reactor temperatures dangerously high. Coolant systems are critical. Backup systems offline. Ship meltdown intimate. Evacuate, evacuate, evacuate.
The ship's destruction, I wish I knew how to do it better at the time, but it works for what it is. The whole place is just lighting on fire, and I wish I put more debris or stuff or explosions, but I just didn't know how to go about it doing that at the time. Now, due to the ship being taken over, the shipmaster called for help. Now, who did he call for help? One of my favorite parts of Halo 1 is at the end of the game, you really feel how dire of a situation you are when the Covenant starts sending in the best of the best with the Spec Ops Covenant. Now the Covenant are sending the best of the best to take care of the Flood threat and put a stop to the Master Chief. It really adds to the feeling, and I don't think enough people appreciate that part of Halo 1. In my first Halo mod, Battle for New Mombasa, I also expanded the Spec Ops, to which they appeared in the Oni HQ and Data Hive missions. They had their own weapon variants and rank units, all that type of shit as well. To which I recreated the weapon variants to appear for the Spec Ops Covenant that appeared in this mod. The Spec Ops Covies come in to take the ship back and to fight the Spec Ops UNSC. They have buff stats, throw plasma nades more, and have different weapons. There's the Spec Ops Miner, which is in full jet black armor with blue shielded lights. They use Spec Ops plasma rifles, which are just black plasma rifles used by Spec Ops. Next is the Spec Ops Ranger, who uses dual shade plasma rifles, which are Spec Ops plasma rifles that fire shade projectiles, which can pass through hunter and vehicle armor, making these guys function as walking shade turrets. They also have purple visors and shield lights. Then there is the Spec Ops Major, which is seen using the Spec Ops Carbine, which has a different projectile than the normal carbine, and it does more damage to vehicles and shields. Then there's the classic Spec Ops grunts who have plasma jolts, which are Spec Ops versions of the plasma pistol that, similar to the plasma launcher, can shoot out a plasma grenade-style projectile that can stick and explode onto enemies. Finally, we have the Spec Ops Hunters, which are just from the Hunter Combi tags, and you can kill them and take their turns. They are the strongest enemy in the mod, and kind of force the player back from exiting, so the player has to use tools around them to take these hunters out. All these weapons come from the original Battle for New Mombasa mod, and I wanted to bring them back and remake them for this mod, as I thought it'd be fun to pay tribute to that old mod that I made, and unfortunately the mod just doesn't work anymore as it was made with assembly and not with the mod tools. This was back before we had proper mod tools, but I wanted to make sure to bring back one of my favorite aspects of the mod, which was the Spec Ops division of the Covenant that the ODSTs had to fight. Speaking of which, the slime rifle was also recreated and can be found where the Kestrel is. I didn't really think it fit, but I really liked the thing, so I added it in as an Easter egg. Finally, the player deals with the Spec Ops Covies and then makes a great escape from the exploding and on-fire Man of War to escape on an Albatross, the same way they got their Stingray. I used the Albatross to deliver the Stingray because it was way more convenient than using a Pelican, and it was unique since not many people use the Albatross for mods or for Halo stuff. The Albatross was made by I'm sorry, it's Work AC. Listen, I'm sorry, I'm not pronouncing this right. But that's the name right there. And I used these tags to put it into the mod here. The player escapes and the Man of War explodes. Harvest has been saved for the time being, and the mod ends with a view of the sexy sunrise of Harvest, along with the text thanking the player for playing the mod. Now there's one last thing I want to talk about in regards to the mod, and that's the story. I saved it for last because my main focus was making a fun mod to play. The mod starts out with a Bink video cutscene I animated in Source Filmmaker. I used an anime model for Spartan 547 because I wanted to kind of do the Halo Legends thing. I really like Halo Legends. It starts out by explaining the details of the lore, 547 being unsure of herself fighting an alien threat. The commander reassures her that she's got this, and showing why the player is going to the iceberg and establishing the threat of the Man of War. I was able to make the cutscene work by only giving a small look inside the Falcon, since obviously it's not an in-engine cutscene, as I didn't know how to make those at the time. With 547, I wanted to introduce the thing that was lost, the big booty female Spartans. So I took the Reach model and went crazy with the proportions. People love it, and I'm glad that I delivered on that. Now, I got a lot of positive feedback to that, and I mean, it really adds to the fever dream and chaotic aspect to my work that I really love to add, you know. I've been really inspired by Tamers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, it's just super fucking funny to me, his fucking videos. And I take inspiration from it. But in all seriousness, I was going for a Spec Ops ODST look for her, as the ODSTs are the Spec Ops of the UNSC. Also, fun fact to her is that she has a full black armor, which isn't possible in vanilla Halo 3 in the multiplayer because Bungie only had set colors for the player to use. I also gave the co-op players their own armor permutations, also based on the Spec Ops theme I wanted, having SPI, Scout, and the Fireteam Raven ODST armors for the co-op players. It was a pain to set this up since I have to set it up in the tags for weapons to be defined whether they are Spartan or Elite co-op players to be used. But in the end, I'm glad I did it because it allows me to have different co-op players than just elites, since, like, even more for a mod that takes place before the Human and Elite alliance of Halo 3. With the characters, some of it is AI voice acting, and some of it is AI voicing, and some of it is my friend's voice acting. Obviously, my voice was used in the mod as well, so I do want to thank the people who helped with the mod in regards to that. I would like to also thank Curse Lemon, Michael Evans, Matthew Beckham, and Sunmask for their metal guitar covers of Undercover Tonight and Tip of the Spear that were used in the mod. They are awesome covers, and you should check them out. I'll put links in the description for them. They absolutely made the mod just work so well with the theme. So I just hope you people enjoy that. So I hope you people enjoyed the music they composed and I used in the mod. But those are the story elements of the mod. At the end of the day, 547 and her Spartan friends, the Marines, they save the day. They learn how to deal with this new alien threat. It's just simple, nothing too special. As this mod and Paradise Panic were intended to just be one-off missions for the fun of it, it wasn't until Battle for Ontario did they become part of a greater universe. Many people have asked me where Desolate December fits in the timeline, and I haven't explained Halo Zero Graphic Tranquility as much as I should have, as it's been a work in progress, early access campaign thing I've been working on. Desolate December is a bonus mission. It's just kind of its own thing. It takes place at the start of the Human Covenant War on Harvest. The other missions in Halo XT take place 20 years after Halo 3, so Desolate December doesn't really have anything much to do with Halo XT other than being a bonus mission for the fun of it. Also, I should say how I came up with the name Desolate December. So you know how Sonic CD's zones are just named Palm Tree Panic, Metallic Madness, Stardust Speedway? You know, it's just 2 letters of the starting word. I wanted to do that with my Halo levels because I liked that. So I did Desolate December because the mod was made in December. It's winter themed and it's pretty much desolate. Originally the mod was called Iceberg because I didn't really have a name for it at the time. So that was the development and showcase of my Halo mod Desolate December. Considering the influence Halo 1 had on it and that many people tell me it's their favorite mod of mine, I wanted to start out my mod showcases by showing you all this mod and giving insight onto how it was made. Which I do that on my main channel, but most people don't watch unedited videos where I don't have a script. I mostly do that for raw unedited updates for people. These videos take a lot of time and effort to make, so if you enjoyed seeing my mod, feel free to like the video and subscribe for more of these videos. I do want to cover and work more on Halo mods. I do a lot of things in regards to making entertainment. A lot of people say that there is no content left for Halo YouTubers to cover, but I beg to differ. We have so many mods for Halo MCC and Halo Wars that are still left uncovered by YouTubers. There's content, it's just nobody wants to talk about it. And I have so many ideas for Halo with my own mods and through fan content that I cannot wait to show and work on it. But hey, you know what, this is a good thing. Because the Halo YouTubers, you know, they may refuse to cover the sea of mods we have, but that just means it's a mine of diamonds that are just waiting to be uncovered by me and make videos about, which I guess gives myself a niche. And it also gives people who are, you know, gives people more positive Halo videos without having to focus on the official shit. Because I think we all know we ain't getting anything positive from official Halo content going forward. So why bother with official when we can just enjoy fan-made content that provides what we want and gives us the enjoyment that we would want from Halo? I've made this point so many times in my videos already, but I think it's worth stating once more. I'm just glad that I'm actually back to contributing to that fan-made content, as this year has been really rough for me and I didn't do as much as fan-made stuff as I hoped. And I really hope going forward I can make things like 2024 again and get back on track. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy more mods in the future, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.